Hey guys, it's Carly. Welcome back to High Country Homesteading. In my last seed haul video, I promised that I would put together a little video about how I'm storing and organizing all of my seeds, as well as what kind of organization I have put together for starting my seeds and keeping track of the garden this year. So I have my trusty laptop here, as well as my seed storage, and I'm going to show you what I've been doing. So I'm going to start with the storage. This is just called a photo storage box, and I got mine on Amazon. You can also get it somewhere from Michael's or Joann's pretty easily with a coupon. And I really love mine. Mine is very sturdy, thick plastic, and it feels really safe and nice in here. So you just open up the box, kind of like a briefcase, and it has all these little individual rectangles in it that have nice sturdy latches. So what I've done as my seeds have come in is I've sorted them into like groupings. So in this one, for example, I have all my tomatoes. So you just open up the little box and I have every kind of tomato just so that it's easy for me to find. So I just have like groupings of things. So this was tomatoes, this is sunflowers, these are all squashes, and so on. So that's how I've been storing them, and they just slip really nicely into the box into little slots. So that's how I've been keeping them, and I've just been storing them in a closet that doesn't typically have the light on very much unless we're using it, and it's a nice, cool, dry place. So here's all my seeds from the 2 hauls that we did this year. So what I'm going to do, and this kind of accompanies the spreadsheet that I'm going to show you, is since I have everything in like groupings right now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to look at my spreadsheet and I'm going to find all of the seeds that need to be started at the same time. For example, my last frost date is estimated in my area about May 1st, and I'm in zone 6B. So I'm at pretty high elevation, so I have a little bit of a shorter growing season. So what I'm going to do is I don't really even get to start seeds indoor until March. So I have a pretty good amount of time. But what I will do is that I will look up on my spreadsheet everything that needs to be started. I believe one of the first dates is March 6th. So I will go through line by line, figure out which seeds in here need to be started on March 6th, and then I will then take those out, group them together, and I will put them together into these containers and group them that way with the date on when they need to be started, so that all of them will be together, and all I have to do is grab one box on that date and take it to wherever I'm starting my seeds and putting soil in and things like that. So I will move on to my spreadsheet and kind of show you how that looks. If you're interested in getting one of these for yourself, like I said, you could get it multiple places. I got mine on Amazon, and I will link it down below. But I absolutely love it. I see me using this for a very long time. All right, so now I'm gonna open my laptop and we're going to go through a spreadsheet. Now, like I said before, I'm a very analytical person. I like having numbers. I like having data. That makes me very happy, because if I needed to troubleshoot something, I would never be able to remember all of the details. So this is basically so that if something works well or something doesn't work well, I can at least try to see what I did, where it was from. I'll be able to see when I started it, was it indoors or outdoors? What date? Did I start it too early? Did I start it too late? What kind of yield I got, all those things. So I'm going to show you that right now. All right, so here is my spreadsheet that I've created. So I have just filled this out as my seeds have come in. So it is in order of type. So I have herbs, vegetables, fruit, and flowers. but otherwise it's not quite grouped together. Some things are a little bit, like I have 2 carrots here, but then I scroll down and I have another carrot there. So it's not quite in order by that, but it is in order by type. So starting over here, I've put whether it's a seed or a start. Now I don't have any starts that I've purchased, but I just put that in case I happen to buy some later if things don't germinate properly. But mostly everything is a seed except for down here in the flowers. I did put whether it was a root or a bulb, just for my info. So like I said, I have type. I have the company that I purchased from, which is mostly Am I Gardener and Eden Brothers, like we went over in the last 2 hauls. And then I have plant variety. So it just said exactly what it says on the package that the plant is called. And then where I could, I put how many seeds per packet. This isn't really helpful unless you're trying to count costs, but I thought I'd put it anyway just to see how much came in the packet, and I know roughly how much it costs. And then I could determine how many seeds I actually use from that packet so that I could determine how long that packet will last me. Something like that. Or you could calculate the cost, how much it costs per seed, and then determine how much you spent on your yield, basically. So I have that info there. It's nice that Am I Gardener had it on their packet, but Eden Brothers did not have it on their packet. So I will just have to estimate those. But all right, next is getting into the nitty gritty. So the date started indoors. Now I haven't done any of this yet, but I wrote down the estimated time that each packet suggested that you should start your seeds indoors. So I wrote the range, whether it was 4 to 6 weeks before last frost, 10 to 12, any details that it listed. Things like this lettuce, it just says 4 weeks before transplanting. Or sometimes there were dual things. So you can plant them indoors or you can plant them outdoors after your last frost. Obviously, the harvest will just be later in the season. There are some things that you should not seed start indoors, like carrots. Mostly root vegetables are better just sown outdoors. And carrots are cold hardy, so it's suggested 3 to 5 weeks before the last frost. So I wrote down any and all information it told me about how to sow. So, for example, this corn is not something that you seed start indoors before your frost. It's something that you direct sow 1 week after your frost. So going back up here. So now we have our suggested times of planting. And then I based mine dates off of May 1st. Now I gave it a range of May 1st to 11th because I checked a lot of websites and tried to just get a median average of what I thought the estimated last frost date was. So going off of May 1st, but I am giving myself a little bit of room because something I know that I really don't want to do is to continue to up pot my seed starts. So I don't want to plant them too much in advance to where I have these big established seed starts that need to be getting potted into bigger containers because frankly, I don't have bigger containers. So I'm being conservative and I've based everything off of the shortest amount of time. Also knowing myself and knowing that I may not start things perfectly on time. So if I count back 4 weeks for this basil, for example, from my May 1st frost date, that's where I came up with April 3rd. So I will likely start this basil on April 3rd indoors in my little seed starting containers. And so that gives me a good just buffer that I feel comfortable with. Or if I don't end up starting this indoors, I can always plant it after my last frost. But like I said, it will just give me a later harvest. So I will try to do everything indoors that I possibly can, though I may run out of room with supplies. We'll just have to see. So I have all of my indoor start dates written down. I have all of my outdoor start rates written down. So for example, like I said, these carrots are 3 to 5 weeks before the last frost. So I calculated that to be around the beginning of April. So if we move over a bit, I do plan on changing these dates to exactly when I did start them. So this is going to change from estimated indoor start date to just plain old indoor start date. So if I plant this on April 10th, I'm going to change this date to that just so I know exactly when I did plant it. And same with the outdoor date. I'm going to change these to exactly when I did plant it or when I transplanted the starts outside. So some other information I just gathered from the seed packets was make sure I knew the planting depth. So some of the things are surface sow, some things you need to dig an inch. Some things like squashes, it says to plant in a mound. So any important information from there. I'm also going to calculate the number of seeds planted. That's just helpful information that I'd like to have. I would like to know how many seeds I planted and then how many took and how many I was able to transplant. So I thought that would be very helpful information for me. I also put in the plant spacing because that's good information to have. I put a column for whether something needs a trellis, which is only a couple of things. Some of the squashes and cucumbers, things like that. But I just went ahead and reminded myself of that. I put in the days to germination because I know I'm the kind of person who's going to look at my seeds every single day. And if they don't sprout, I'm going to get upset because I'm very impatient. So I want to remind myself of each of their germinations just to give me a good idea of when I'm supposed to expect a sprout to come out. And then along that line, I put in the maturation date. So once I calculate or once I enter the date that I start the seeds, I'm going to put a date in this estimated harvest date column to give me an idea of when I'll actually be able to harvest the food. That was something last year that I just had no idea about. As soon as I planted something in the ground, I think I threw away the seed packets and I had no idea when anything was supposed to be ready. And I didn't want to, pull carrots before they were ready because then I lose that carrot and things like that. So I had to keep trying to look it up online and Google it and remind myself on when something was supposed to be ready. And I don't remember exactly the date I planted it. So this is going to be a very important column to me, and I will fill that out as I seed start, either indoors or outdoors. So an estimated harvest date, and then at the end of everything, I want to calculate the produce yield. So I would love to know out of the amount of corn that I planted, how many ears of corn I actually got, how many tomatoes I actually got, and things like that. I probably won't do much for the flowers because, I don't know, I'm not really going to count flower yield, but I will count whether something just didn't even work at all. So that is what I have going on for my spreadsheet. If there's a column that I'm missing that you think I should have or would be helpful, let me know in the comments. So for the next part of the spreadsheet, I've, on a different tab, put the same exact information, but I have sorted it by estimated indoor start date. And this is going back to what I said before, is that I now have everything lined up according to date of when I should start them. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything that says it needs to be started on March 6th, and I'm going to put that together with a March 6th Post-it note on it and rubber band it together and just make sure that it's all together. And all I have to do is grab that pack of rubber banded items and go and start my seeds. So that is how I'm going to start organizing things from now on. And since I have everything sorted into categories, it's going to be really easy to find each item because this is just a mishmash of things. We've got some snapdragons, strawberry, artichoke, peppers, broccoli, thyme, all different kinds of things. So we're going to select each of those, put them together, and then all we have to do is grab that package on March 6th and get those seeds started. So I hope that was helpful. I hope this proves to be successful for me. We're at least trying to get off on the right foot. So if I can get as organized as possible with these things and give myself all of the information that I need to be successful, then hopefully we're gonna get a lot of healthy plant starts that we can then transfer to the new garden space. So I'm very excited to get that started. Like I said, I can't even really start until March. So I have over a month at this point until I need to really hunker down and get started on all that. But it's nice to be organized and it's nice to do it ahead of time and it doesn't hurt. So we're gonna get started on that soon and I'm excited for more garden content and I hope you come along with me and see if any of this works out. So thanks for joining me and I will see you next time. Bye.